Good afternoon. This lesson, we're going to learn to write equations given a table, which is no different than the last lesson. You're just given a bunch of points. So in other words, using the 2 points, you can find your slope, and using the points, you can find your y-intercept. Because we're writing these all in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now, it's also going to have you write them in what's called function notation. So instead of the y, we're going to replace the y with f of x. Now it's going to start out nice and easy because it's going to have it's already done for you. Right here, if you'll notice, f of x is already written. In this first one, they even give you the slope, 1x. All we need to do is find the y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept, that b value, is equal to any y value minus the slope times its corresponding x value. So again, I just take the smallest point I have, take the y value, which is 37, and by the way, remember that f of x, this symbol here, that is y, that's considered y. There's just a new way to write y, minus my slope of 1, that's a 1 that's right there, right? So it gave me my slope of 1 times my x value of 2, and so I have 37 minus 2, which is 35. So all I need to do is type in 35 and hit submit. But as you get into higher ones, you're going to find out that it won't give you the slope. So I'm going to jump ahead because I don't think we need to spend any more time doing that one. I think you can do that just fine, but eventually we're going to get here where it actually asks you to find the slope, and it asks you to find the y-intercept. Now be very careful with the y-intercept though. If you'll notice, they already put a minus right there. That tells me my y-intercept's a negative value. But let's find the slope first. So remember, slope is just your I'm going to take 2 points, y2. So I'm going to take these top 2 points. I'm going to take the second y value. I'm going to minus off the first y value, which is 7, over, so that was the second y minus the first y. Now I'm going to do the second x minus the first x, so 4 minus 3, and we end up finding out our slope is 10 over 1, or 10. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, type in 10 for my slope. Now I just got to find my y-intercept. To find my y-intercept, again, I'm going to use, I'll do this in a different color. I'm going to use this top point right here. I'm going to take the y value, which is 7, and I'm going to minus off the slope, which is 10, times the corresponding x that went with that 7y value, which is 3. So I get 7 minus 30, or I get a negative 23. Now, this is what I said when I meant a little earlier. I pointed at this negative that's sitting right here. That negative tells me that they already included the negative. Don't type in negative 23 here. You'll get it wrong. They already included the negative. Just type in 23. Okay, and as you move forward, again, what they're going to do is now they're going to get to even less. So they want you to type the whole thing in, all of it, including the f of x. So when I go to do this, the first thing I would do actually is I would type in right here, just as it tells you to do, I would do f parentheses x parentheses equals. Now I got to find my slope. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use these top 2 points here. I'm going to take that second y value, which is negative 60. I'm going to minus off the first y value, which is negative 48. And I'm going to divide that by the second x value, which is 5, minus the first x value, which is 4. And I will get, well, minus and minus is plus 48. So negative 60 plus 48 is going to be a negative 12 over 1. So my slope is a negative 12. So I come back over here to this equation and I type in a negative 12. Don't forget to put the x. Now I got to find my y value, my y-intercept. So again, I'm going to take this top point right here. I'm going to put negative 48, that's the y value, and I'm going to subtract off my slope of negative 12 times the x value that went with the negative 48, which is 4, so times 4. Now be careful with your signs. If you notice, I'm minus and a minus, so I'm going to end up plus, and 12 times 48 is 48, and I end up having a negative 48 plus 48. That tells me my y-intercept is 0. So I don't have to type in a plus 0. That's the actual answer, is just what I have written there. Plus 0, which you don't need to write. You got it. All right. So again, let's just jump ahead and see if it gets any harder than that. Okay. That's not any harder. You know why that's not any harder? They give you the y-intercept. If the x value right here is 0, they give you the y-intercept. The y-intercept is negative 89. All we need to do is calculate the slope. So very quickly, I'm just going to do this almost in my head. Negative 76 minus a minus 89, or plus 89, is going to be a 13 over, going from 1 to 0 is an increase of 1, or 1 minus 0. So my equation is just simply f, remember they want you to type it as f of x now, equals my slope of 13 times x minus 89, because my y-intercept was negative 89. The y-intercept is when x is 0. Submit, right? But again, they don't necessarily have to give you the y-intercept, so I'm going to do one more and we'll call it good. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 56 minus 66 over, seems like they keep making this difference in x 1. I really wish it wasn't always 1, and it might not always be 1, so be careful. Make sure you always find the difference in the x values as well, so it won't always be 1. Negative 10 over 1 is 56 minus 66, negative 10, so I know my slope is negative 10. So again, I'm going to come over here, f parentheses x equals negative 10x. Now I just got to find my y-intercept. Remember, to find that b value, I always take my y value of a point and minus off the slope times the corresponding x value that goes with it. So I'm going to use this top point right here. My y value is 66, minus off my slope of negative 10. So I do a negative 10, so I'm going to get a double minus sign. Always be careful of your minus signs. Times my x value, which was 3. I kind of covered it up over there. 3. So I have 66 plus 30. So I actually get 96 is my y value. So I come back over here and I type in plus 96. And brilliant, I got it. If you have any questions, bring them to class and I will help you there.